Hi everyone, it's Naturally Izzy here and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. I want to talk about all the signs and symptoms you may have to look out for just in case you think your child may have autism. So this video, I want to set a disclaimer that if your child does certain things that I may say, does not mean that I am saying that your child is autistic or anything. You should always seek a professional and have them give you an evaluation and a proper diagnosis before you jump to a conclusion about someone you may know or a child having a disorder. So with that being said, I'm making this video because I want to spread awareness and I want to be a light for somebody, because I remember when I was looking for videos and I was doing my own research, there weren't a lot of people who looked like me. There weren't a lot of people who were black or even my age making videos like this. And I was a little bit lost and I was a little bit confused and I kind of felt alone. And it's easy to feel that way when you notice something about your child and you see other children doing certain things and your child is not, or your child may be delayed or behind and you don't know why. So with that being said, let's just get into the video and let's just touch the surface. So what is autism? Autism also affects the nervous system. So the way they feel things, and it may not be the way we feel them, which is really hard to explain. And I'm still learning about this literally every single day. It's a learning and growing process for me too. So my son, his name is Aiden, and he was recently diagnosed with autism and he is now getting ABA. He is 2 years old. So some of the signs and symptoms that I noticed about my child, I would say the very first thing that I want to say that was a red flag for me was he didn't really pay attention or have really good eye contact. Like we will be outside, we'll be places, and it was like no one or anyone was around him. It was just him in his own world. And I remember we would go to parties and there'll be loud noise playing and he wouldn't respond at all. Like it was just like nothing affected him. Like the sound didn't affect him, none of that affected him. It was just, he was just there. So that was one of the things that I noticed about Aiden. He didn't really have good eye contact. Like you would say hi, he would turn his head. And one thing that I noticed that was very distinctive about Aiden, when we threw a party for him for his first birthday, everybody came. It was so fun. Like it was a good party. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a very good party. Like so many people came, he had so many gifts, but it was just like he ignored everybody. And that was the main, like that was the, like I already sent him to a specialist to get evaluated before that, but that day was when I was like, yeah, something is really like going on with Aiden that we don't understand, because I have pictures of people and they would literally be like, hi Aiden, in his face, and he would just be like, I have a video with me and him and a clown came and we have the camera and I'm like, Aiden, look, and he's like pulling the microphone.
The bunny's so cute.
Oh, you want to come to the bunny? Oh, he loves the microphone.
You want to
Be a
say
singer? You gotta do. You see it from right early.
Like pointing to a camera and he's turning his head. That's another thing. He never looked. Like when you point to a direction, he never looked. When you clap, he never clapped back. He never clapped really at all. Like even until now, like he barely claps. When he watches shows, it's like he just watches it. He doesn't like interact with it. He doesn't clap. He smiles, but you don't ever really know if he's smiling at the moment or if he's smiling just to smile. It's always kind of like a gray area there. So that was one of the couple of symptoms at first that I knew that Aiden was different. Another way that I knew was when he barely like talked. Like the very first year of his life, he barely said anything. he's now getting in the habit of saying like mama, baba, but the very first year he didn't say much. He just looked at you, or if he looked at you, you were lucky. But yeah, he was really to himself and very quiet. He didn't interact that much with other kids, and if he did, his interaction was very different. So that was another thing. And what I would say was another like main concern with me, when he first started walking, it was very late. It was like a year and a couple months. So like when he turned 1, it was like 2 months after he turned 1 is when he very first started walking. So, and this was with me like enforcing him like almost every single day. Like I remember I would come home from work and I would just like try to like get him to walk almost every day, but it was even hard. Then like he would just automatically like sit down. He wouldn't even want to stand. It was just a really hard process. So yeah, he finally started walking and he turned a year and 2 months. So that was another thing. And what I would say was another like main concern with me was when I noticed like I switched his food because he was eating baby food a lot, and I wanted to get him to eat things that are a little bit more advanced because he was getting older. So I noticed that like he didn't want to eat like the chicken and broccoli and all of that, the veggie baby food, which is fine because I probably wouldn't eat that either. It's kind of gross. But I noticed it was an issue when I tried to introduce him to like simple things like oatmeal, and he didn't want to eat it, and it was just really hard getting him to eat anything else but baby food. So in order for me to like get him to eat other foods, I had to like take the baby food and mix it with the oatmeal, and I had to put like the tiniest little bit of oatmeal inside the baby food to mix it up to let him eat it, because it was like kind of tricking him because I didn't put that much, and eventually over time I started adding more and more, and so he started to eat the oatmeal by itself. But it was a really hard process to get Aiden to eat foods that he was not familiar of, and to this day it's really hard still to get Aiden to eat other foods. Another red flag I would say that I noticed about Aiden when it comes to him being autistic, it's more recent now that he does these things rather than when he was younger. But now I notice that he climbs a lot on things. Like I will insert a clip of him climbing on the dresser to sit inside to watch the television. He constantly flicks on and off the lights. He spins in circles sometimes, and sometimes you can see him like he'll be looking forward, but sometimes he'll like go like this. Wait, I can't even really do it. Okay, so he'll go like this, and then he'll be like looking from like the side of his eye. So does that too. And he likes to open and shut doors, and it's like a lot of repetitive behavior, and a lot of the sounds that he makes is mostly like baba, mama, mama. It's really repetitive. It's not like anything new. So those are some of the things that he do now that I noticed about him. Also, he walks on his tippy toes, and we're actually in the process of getting him out of that. He doesn't do it as much when he has sneakers on, but when he's barefoot, he walks on his tippy toes. This in the clip, but I'm gonna add it in here now because this is very important. Another reason that I knew my son had autism was he didn't answer his name. We would call him, and it was just like we wouldn't even be calling him. It was to the point where we thought he might have been deaf, but I knew he wasn't deaf because he would answer, like say if I had the cartoons, and he knows like his favorite show is Cocomelon, and if I cut on the cartoon and the theme song comes on, he would like turn his head. So I knew like he can hear, so I knew like hearing wasn't the problem for Aiden. I think he just didn't know how to identify himself. So yeah, not answering his name was a very big flag for us. We had to go through multiple hearing tests for Aiden to make sure he was not deaf. So yeah, and I made this video to spread awareness, and I hope that it blessed somebody and it helps somebody and it gives somebody some more clarity. And if you feel like your child is on the spectrum, I want you to know that you're not alone. And because I remember there were times where like it was still a great area for me, and my son would do like I would see people that I knew in the street, and I didn't want them to come up to me because I knew the type of person my son was, and I knew that like his interaction with people isn't the same. Like I knew that once they came up to him and they said hi to him, he wouldn't look at them, he wouldn't respond, and I didn't want people to like look at me and ask me questions like, oh, why doesn't your son talk, or why isn't he looking at me? I didn't want those kind of questions because I was very insecure about what was going on with my son at the time. And yeah, I was just insecure about it. So I remember it was a couple times people would come up to me and I would talk to them, and I would let the interaction be so limited. It would just be like, hi, bye. They would say hi, Aiden, and then I would like literally push with the stroller like, okay, bye, see you later, because I didn't want to explain anything about my son, at least because I wasn't sure, and also I wasn't ready to talk about it. So I just wanted to be that person, to be there for somebody else, so you know that you're not alone. What you're going through, there are other people out there who are going through it too. There are groups for this kind of stuff, and it's gonna be okay. Like now I feel comfortable to talk about my son and the way he is, and he's fine. Like my son, he doesn't talk, he's different, but he shows me and he tells me how strong he is every single day. He tells me how smart he is every single day without saying a word. Like he literally blows my mind with some of the things that he does. It's just like, wow. And sometimes I wish I could like feel life the way he feels life, because it's just so different. The way he views life is so different. The way he learns is so different. He's so different, and different. It's okay to be different. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I just want everybody to know who are going through something like this, that it's gonna be okay. Your child's gonna be okay. And if you feel like your child is on the spectrum, it's best to get them the help that they need while they're still young, because it'll be much more beneficial for them in the long run if you get them the help that they need while they're young. So the sooner the better. Do not wait because of fear. Do not wait because of what you think people may say about your kid, or just any insecurity that you have, because at the end of the day, you're hindering your own child to grow without giving them the help. So, and who cares at the end of the day? Who cares what anybody have to say? Doesn't matter. So I hope that this video has blessed somebody, and I will leave my contact information in the description. If anybody wants to reach out, ask questions, I will always be open air. And that is all, and there will be more videos on this to come. So bye.